Why does the word vacation-like, a word that is literally supposed to mean relaxation and escape, why does it trigger a low-level panic attack the second the calendar flips to spring?
Oh, it completely does.
Right, it's Tuesday, March 31st, 2026 today. And if you are listening to this right now, there is a very, very good chance you're feeling that familiar knot in your stomach.
The looming dread of July.
Exactly. You look at the upcoming summer months, and instead of picturing, a beach or a quiet cabin somewhere, you just see this massive, looming logistical mountain.
And you haven't even started climbing it yet.
You haven't even bought the boots for it.
Right. It really is a remarkable psychological paradox, I mean, when you think about it.
It's so.
Well, we spent all winter completely desperate for a break, right? But the sheer volume of choices and the pressure to optimize our time off, it often makes preparation feel like a second full-time job.
Which is exactly why we are taking this deep dive today. Our mission here is to look at what we're calling the art of preemptive summer vacation planning. And you, the listener, you provided us with an incredibly diverse stack of internet sources for this. It's a really fascinating cross-section of travel platforms.
It really is. The variety is wild.
It's all over the place. We are looking at URLs from the Company of Dads sitting right alongside La Jolla Mom. And we have Travel Noir exploring, the best time to plan, and then contrasting platforms like Lux Life London, Go With Us, and Travel for a While.
So it's a massive mix of demographics and scales.
Yeah, totally. And we should be clear up front. We aren't going to just aggregate their packing lists or debate which travel credit card gives you the best hotel points.
No, absolutely not. That's not the goal here.
Right. We want to decode the underlying sociology and the psychology embedded in these titles.
Because how these different platforms frame the very concept of the summer getaway, it tells us a massive amount about how we tackle the mental load of modern travel.
It really does. But before we get into the specific types of trips being pitched or, who the internet algorithms actually think should be booking them, we have to look at the universal urgency.
The timeline.
Yes, the timeline. It is plastered across almost every single one of these sources. The entire stack hinges on it.
This overarching theme of preemptive planning. Because every subsequent decision you make, your budget, managing your family dynamics, picking a destination, it all relies entirely on understanding this ticking clock.
Okay, let's unpack this word preemptive because I have to push back on this terminology for just a second.
Go for it.
We see it in the Company of Dads, right? They're focusing on why you should prepare your summer plans early.
Right.
And Travel Noir highlights the best time to plan summer vacations. But the word preemptive? It sounds like we're launching a calculated military strike against the month of July.
A tactical assault on summer.
Yes. Doesn't treating a summer getaway like a corporate merger kind of defeat the whole purpose?
I completely understand why it feels that way.
If I schedule my relaxation in March, haven't I just squeezed all the joy and spontaneity out of the actual trip?
It's a natural assumption. We naturally view planning and spontaneity as total opposites.
Because they kind of are.
Well, the assumption is that if you build a rigid itinerary months in advance, you are trapping yourself in a box.
Exactly. I don't want to be in a box on a Tuesday in Cancun.
Right. But if we look closely at the framing from sources like Travel Noir, finding that best time to prepare isn't about killing spontaneity at all. It is actually about securing the baseline.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break down what securing the baseline actually means in this context.
So consider the cognitive mechanics of decision fatigue.
Okay.
The human brain has a finite amount of bandwidth for making choices each day.
That is definitely true.
Right. So when you are scrambling in late June to figure out what you're doing in July, you aren't making choices based on what you actually desire.
What are you making them based on then?
You are forced to make choices based solely on what is left over.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The flights are totally picked over. The
Yeah.
good family-friendly accommodations are long gone.
You're just taking whatever scraps the internet throws at you.
Precisely. You are in a state of complete cognitive depletion, just trying to secure a place to sleep.
So you are operating from a place of scarcity. You aren't building a dream vacation anymore. You are literally just doing damage control.
Yes, damage control. And when you finally arrive at your destination after that kind of scramble, your brain is still stuck in executive function mode.
You can't turn it off.
You can't. You are still problem solving. But if you launch that preemptive strike early on, if you lock in the flights, the rental car, the hotel right now, in March, you have actually purchased the bandwidth to be spontaneous later.
Oh, I like that. That is a completely different way to look at it. You are basically prepaying your stress tax.
That is a brilliant way to put it. Yes, you're prepaying the stress tax.
Because administrative stress at the beach is still administrative stress.
Exactly. By handling the macro logistics in March, you free up your dopamine receptors for July. You don't have to stress about the baseline survival needs of your trip, which means you have the absolute freedom to be spontaneous about, where you grab lunch or deciding to pull over and explore a random hiking trail.
Because you already know where you're sleeping that night.
Exactly. Preemptive planning doesn't kill spontaneity. It creates the safe container where spontaneity can actually happen.
That makes so much sense because trying to find a last-minute dinner spot for 5 people on a busy boardwalk while your phone battery dies, that is not a vacation.
That's a nightmare.
So Travel Noir pinpointing that window of opportunity to plan is really about trying to save the reader from their own future burnout.
They are urging their audience to get ahead of the curve so the vacation functions as an actual period of psychological rest.
Instead of just a different geographical location to experience logistical panic.
Spot on.
But that brings up a massive secondary issue, though, because if this preemptive timeline is essentially a ticking clock that forces action, who is actually expected to defuse the bomb?
Ah, yes. The division of labor.
Right. This urgency forces a division of labor within the household. And looking at our stack of sources, the way the internet segments that responsibility is striking.
It's very revealing. The timeline sets the stage, but the execution falls on the real people inside the household.
Yeah.
And when you analyze the explicit gender and parental segmentation in these URLs you provided, you get a very clear picture of how the travel industry views the modern mental load.
Let's look at the contrast here because it's wild. On one side, we have the Company of Dads. Their URL explicitly points to an article on why you should prepare your summer plans early.
It is highly motivational.
Yes, it's focused entirely on the rationale, the underlying why of the task.
It implies a need for persuasion, like the reader needs to be convinced.
Exactly. But then we flip over to Lojola Mom.
Right.
Her URL isn't about the philosophical why at all. It skips the motivation entirely and goes straight to summer vacation planning tips.
The granular how-to.
It's purely tactical, and both of these platforms are feeding into the same broader goal we see in the source travel for a while, which is planning a family-friendly summer vacation.
They are.
So I have to ask, is the mental load of a family vacation really still this segregated in 2026?
Well, if we look at the sociological concept of invisible labor, the messaging from these platforms makes perfect sense.
Tell me more about invisible labor in this context.
So invisible labor isn't just the physical act of booking the flight, right? It is the constant running background process in someone's mind.
The endless checklist.
Exactly. Remembering that the flight needs to be booked, monitoring the kids' changing clothing sizes for swimsuits, researching the proximity of the hotel to pediatric urgent care.
Oh my gosh, yes, it is literal project management.
It is. It's the spreadsheets in the brain.
The spreadsheets in the brain.
Yes. So look at how the algorithms target specific pain points based on that reality.
What?
The source targeting fathers is framed around motivation, why you should prepare. This phrasing implies the reader is experiencing inertia.
Like they haven't even thought about it yet.
Exactly. They need to be convinced to even step onto the playing field and initiate this preemptive strike.
It's essentially saying, hey guys, this is the thing you need to care about, and here is the business case for why you should care right now.
Yes, perfect analogy. Meanwhile, the source from the maternal perspective, Lojola Mom, assumes the reader has already been on the playing field for weeks.
She doesn't need to be told why summer matters.
Not at all. She is already drowning in the execution of it.
Yeah.
The word tips implies a desperate need for efficiency. It signals that the mental load is already firmly resting on her shoulders, and she is just seeking tactical support to optimize this highly complex logistical web.
That is such a fascinating distillation of the internet economy. Like, the dad side is saying, get in the game, it's time to play. And the mom side is saying, here is how to optimize your swing because we know you are playing all 9 innings completely by yourself.
Exactly. Both platforms want to achieve that family-friendly summer vacation, but they are addressing 2 completely different realities of household management.
This is a crucial takeaway, I think, for anyone consuming travel content. Information is rarely neutral.
Oh, never.
It is highly calibrated to speak to a specific bottleneck in the planning process.
Yes. For one demographic, the bottleneck is getting started. For another, the bottleneck is avoiding a nervous breakdown from logistical overwhelm.
Right. And recognizing which message is being sold to you allows you to step back and honestly evaluate how the planning burden is distributed in your own home.
It really does.
It paints this vivid, kind of hypothetical picture of a Tuesday night in March. Dad is reading an article to get hyped up about the concept of making memories.
While mom has 15 browser tabs open, cross-referencing cancellation policies for travel strollers.
Exactly. It really makes you realize that a family vacation isn't just a unified entity going on a trip. It is a micro-organization trying to frantically align its departments before the clock runs out.
And that ticking clock brings us to the final variable here.
Which is?
Once the departments are aligned, the labor is divided, and the preemptive timeline is locked in. What exactly are they building?
The scale of the operation.
Right. Moving from the who to the what.
Because deciding to plan early is only step one. Step two is deciding what standard of travel you are actually aiming for. And our sources present a massive contrast in scope here.
They do. We see the foundational end of the spectrum with Go With Us, which frames its approach as the ultimate guide to summer travel.
Yeah.
This is broad, it's sweeping, and it's really designed to cover the necessary baseline for the average traveler.
But way over on the other end, we have Lux Life London with their planning trip vacation guide.
Completely different universe.
Totally. We are moving from the accessible ultimate approach to a highly elevated, very niche luxury ecosystem. Upgrading from an ultimate guide to a Lux Life guide is like, well, it's like upgrading from a reliable multi-tool to a custom-forged chef's blade.
Oh, let's explore that multi-tool comparison because it perfectly captures the Go With Us approach.
Yeah.
A multi-tool is adaptable. It has the little scissors, the screwdriver, the saw.
You can fix anything with it.
Exactly. It gets you through the average family road trip or the standard theme park visit. It provides a robust, survival-oriented framework that works for 90% of situations.
All right, gets the job done. But the custom-forged chef's blade, that is Lux Life London.
Yes.
It is hyper-specialized. You don't take a delicate, high-carbon chef's knife on a camping trip to Whittlesticks.
No, you would ruin it.
Exactly. It requires a specific environment, a specific budget, and a certain level of insider knowledge just to know how to hold it. It is entirely about absolute refinement rather than basic utility.
Here is the underlying mechanism that connects them, though.
Okay, I'm listening.
How does a hyper-specialized luxury vacation build on the exact same preemptive principles as the multi-tool vacation?
See, I always assumed that if you are operating in that Lux Life sphere, you don't really need to plan preemptively.
Interesting. Why is that?
Well, I figured luxury was simply about having the financial capital to do whatever you want at the last minute. You just throw money at the problem and the door's open.
That is a very, very common assumption, but it fundamentally misunderstands the economics of exclusivity.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Wealth alone cannot manufacture a physical cabana at a five-star resort in July if they're all actually occupied.
Good point.
It cannot manifest a private after-hours tour of the Louvre if the security manifest was finalized back in April. The true currency of the luxury travel sector isn't just money, it is time.
Wait, let me stop you there. Time is the barrier to entry.
Absolutely. Think about it. The multi-tool vacation can often be pulled together with a bit less lead time because the infrastructure for standard mass-market travel is massive.
Right, there are thousands of standard hotel rooms.
Exactly. But the chef's blade vacation relies on scarcity. There's only one chef's table at that Michelin-starred restaurant.
Yeah.
There are only 4 private villas overlooking that specific cliffside. You cannot secure exclusive access without a massive runway.
That makes perfect sense. Time is the one currency that allows you to scale a standard trip up to a true luxury experience.
Yes.
If you don't have the time to get ahead of the scarcity, I mean, all the money in the world won't help you.
So when we see a source like Lux Life London in the exact same stack as Travel Noir's advice on the best time to plan, we can clearly see the connective tissue.
The timeline.
Knowing when to plan is the literal key that unlocks the what. Preemptive action is the ultimate luxury because it allows you to harness time to your advantage.
This completely reframes how I look at these sources. What initially seemed like, just a random assortment of travel links is actually a masterclass in the sociology of modern leisure.
It really is.
We decoded the matrix here.
It highlights that the mechanics of taking a break are incredibly complex when you look beneath those surface-level checklists.
So let's synthesize this overarching narrative for you, the listener, so you can actually use this to your advantage.
Make it practical.
Right. If you want to shortcut the anxiety of information overload and master the art of summer planning, there are 3 core mechanisms you need to understand from these sources.
Okay, number 1.
First, you have to lean into the timeline. As we unpacked with Travel Noir and the Company of Dads, preemptive planning isn't a rigid trap that destroys fun.
Not at all.
It is a vital defense mechanism against decision fatigue. You are prepaying your stress tax.
Secure the baseline.
Yes, by locking in the logistical baseline early, you protect your cognitive bandwidth so you can actually experience spontaneity and joy when you arrive.
Perfect. Second, you must navigate the invisible labor within your household.
Such a big one.
We saw the stark difference between the motivational why, targeted at dads, and the tactical tips aimed at moms. The internet knows who is carrying the mental load, and it markets to them accordingly.
It's scary how accurate it is.
Right. By recognizing these algorithms, you can consciously choose to disrupt them. You can ensure the project management of your family-friendly vacation is actually a shared endeavor.
And third, you have to utilize time as a currency to determine your scale. Are you reaching for the reliable multi-tool of the Go With Us Ultimate Guide, or are you trying to forge the exclusive chef's blade of a luxe life experience?
Which requires a massive runway.
Exactly. Understand that the higher the level of exclusivity you desire, the longer your preemptive runway must be. Wealth can't buy an experience that is already fully booked out.
By grasping these macro trends, the psychology of decision fatigue, the sociology of the mental load, and the economics of scarcity, you bypass the chaotic weeds entirely.
You really do.
You don't need to read 1,000 packing lists to be well-informed. You just need to understand the underlying game.
And that is exactly what this deep dive is designed to do for you, to give you the conceptual shortcut so you can look at the calendar today in March and feel empowered rather than panicked.
You are now fully equipped to launch your own highly organized, completely calm, preemptive strike.
But before we let you go, consider this one final provocative thought.
Oh, I like this.
We've established that right now, every single demographic, from the Lojala moms looking for efficiency, to the luxury seekers in London, to the dads trying to overcome inertia, everyone is mapping out their summer.
The whole world is plotting.
Exactly. The entire travel infrastructure is being systematically locked down by highly organized people months in advance.
Right.
So here is the question. If the entire world is spending March obsessively planning out every inch of July and August, are the real, undiscovered hidden gems this summer going to be found by the people who intentionally make absolutely zero plans at all?
Wow. The ultimate counterstrike to the optimized life.
Something to mull over as you stare at your calendar. Keep questioning the consensus, trust your bandwidth, and good luck out there.